Last week, when I was comparing March Madness ratings between the men and women's tournament, I made an off-the-cuff remark about the NBA. The NBA this season, they averaged less than 3 million viewers in prime time on ABC Saturday nights. Now, there were a few commenters that took that remark as me comparing ratings for the NBA regular season to ratings for March Madness. They said a more fair comparison would be to the NBA playoffs. Now, I understand why they would think I was comparing March Madness to the NBA regular season. I didn't really expound on my comments. I just made it off the cuff and moved on. Sometimes I will get on here and get to talking, and I will wrongly assume that most people watching me have been watching me for a while. Those of you that have been watching me since last summer, you already know ratings for March Madness dominate the NBA playoffs. But we do have a lot of new subscribers. We passed the 20,000 subscriber mark yesterday. We have added, I think it's about 10,000 new subscribers to the channel since September. 7 months, 10,000 new subs. Now, I'm no mathematician, but just doing the numbers in my head, that's around 1,500 new subscribers every month. Pretty good if you ask me. But anyway, with all the new subscribers that we have, I figured I would show you today just how badly March Madness dominates the NBA. Basketball is the only sport where it's more popular on the college level than professional. And this should never happen. Amateur athletes should never draw a larger audience than their professional counterparts. College football doesn't come close to beating the NFL. College baseball is pretty much irrelevant until the College World Series. College golf doesn't come close to the PGA. I don't even know if college golf airs on television. It's only in basketball. College basketball is far more popular than the NBA. Even the women. The fucking women destroy the WNBA in the ratings. You could add the audience for nationally televised WNBA games in a week, combine them, and they wouldn't beat one women's college basketball game. Now, we all know why the NBA, the WNBA are unpopular. The NBA's woke, the WNBA's super woke, and the WNBA is also boring as fuck. But what I can't figure out, women's college basketball's woke too. It's also boring as fuck. But they draw double, triple, in some cases quadruple the ratings of the WNBA. At least they do for now. I believe the spike in ratings that we are seeing for women's college basketball is strictly being driven by the woke media. They have spent the last 4 or 5 weeks shoving it down your throat. Looking at their ratings, social justice warriors have responded and decided to support them. Monday night, the women drew 1.6 million and 2 million on ESPN. Those are great numbers. That's a great number for women's college basketball. I don't think the WNBA has ever drawn 2 million viewers. Now, is this sustainable in women's college basketball? That remains to be seen. The media has went into overdrive, trying to make you believe that women's basketball is exciting. Kurt Streeter, he just published an article in the New York Times, and my God, did he go overboard with the excitement. The action in Spokane showcased the greatness on display. There was smooth excellence. These women didn't give me a boner, but the male cheerleaders sure fucking did. Look, this is all well and good. I'm happy for the women in college basketball, but here's the problem. And this is just my personal opinion on this. Last week, one of my viewers hit me up on Twitter, sent me a podcast from the Associated Press. I believe it was 2 women and some old dude who probably hasn't seen a woman in decades. But they were hyping up the women's tournament. Oh, it's just so exciting. It's must-see TV. In the interest of fairness, I decided to check out a couple of games. I haven't watched women's college basketball in years. So I checked out a couple of games, and it's just not for me. I watched it with an open mind, but dude, it was just so fucking boring. The pace of play is slower. The intensity is not the same. It is just not the same product as the men. Now, that's not me being a misogynist. I'm just being a realist. The problem with the media relentlessly hyping up the women, they are setting a standard for them that can't be met. So when someone else like me tunes in to see what all the hype is about and ultimately leaves disappointed, they're never going to watch again because you failed to meet the hype. But anyway, let's get into comparing ratings for March Madness to the NBA playoffs from last year. I pulled ratings for the NBA Conference Finals. I figured that was a fair comparison to the Elite Eight. Hell, I could have compared the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight to the fucking NBA Finals, and they would have beat them in most cases. The Western Conference Finals last year, Suns Clippers, 6-game series, broadcast on ESPN and ABC. They averaged 5.4 million viewers. Eastern Conference Finals, Bucks Hawks, broadcast on TNT, less than 5 million viewers. The Elite Eight this past weekend, the 4 games averaged over 10 million viewers, double the audience of the NBA Conference Finals. But KC, the Conference Finals last year didn't feature marquee NBA teams or players. And so, for years now, I have been hearing that Giannis is a superstar. He is a social media influencer. He has over 12 million followers on Instagram. I'll agree. The conference and NBA finals last year were a nightmare scenario for the NBA. None of the 4 teams have a large national following. None of them have players that can draw in the casual fan. And that is what the NBA is sorely missing right now. The casual viewer. They have pissed them off so bad with their woke bullshit, it is going to take a once-in-a-generation holy shit type of star to reel them back in. If you weren't pissed off with the NBA's push for social justice, you were pissed off with their hypocrisy when it comes to China. They attempted to silence Enes Kanter. When that didn't work, and he continued to call them out on their bullshit, they kick him out of the league. He gets traded from Boston to Houston and immediately released. Now, you mean to tell me a 29-year-old role player who averaged a double-double last season can't be used on a team in the playoff hunt? That trade from Boston to Houston I thought it was rather strange. Back in 2019, when Daryl Morey was the GM in Houston, he tweeted his support for freedom fighters in Hong Kong. This resulted in severe lashes to LeBron James and Adam Silver. Daddy G was pissed that his children were defying him. I think the Enes Kanter trade to Houston was an act of contrition by the NBA. I am so sorry, Father. You are my living God. I present you Enes Kanter, our sacrifice to you for the actions of Daryl Morey. Now please remove your pants and let me love on you like only I can. I'll tell you the reason college basketball is drawing huge numbers while the NBA continues to struggle. Besides, of course, the woke politics. There is another reason. Last year, ratings were shit for the Elite Eight. Now, part of that had to do with them playing in empty or maybe it was half-empty arenas. But another reason, the Elite Eight last year didn't feature prominent teams. Houston, Ohio State, Baylor, Arkansas, Gonzaga, USC. All programs that don't have a strong national following in basketball. Gonzaga, they're a basketball school, but people in Kentucky don't give a shit about Gonzaga. The highest rated game in the Elite Eight last year, UCLA, Michigan, 2 traditional programs. This year, they had Villanova, Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, all 4 teams playing in separate games. College basketball is structured the way the NBA should be structured. We don't follow players in college basketball. We follow teams. We follow coaches. Duke draws big numbers, all 50 states. CBS could not have asked for a better Final Four this year. Most people couldn't name one player on one of the Final Four teams, but they could tell you Jay Wright is the coach at Villanova. Everyone knows about Coach K, Bill Self in Kansas, Hubert Davis at North Carolina. All 4 teams have a strong following nationally. Villanova has the weakest, and they still drew over 7 million people last weekend. NBA fans don't follow teams, they follow players. And that's all well and good when you have a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant, a Shaq. It's great when you have someone to build the league around. But look at what happens when your centerpiece alienates your audience. People quit watching. And the reason they quit watching, other than the fact they can't stand LeBron James, the casual fan doesn't have an emotional attachment to a team. The NBA is the only sport that doesn't market the teams, they market the players. Then you wonder why half the league's arenas are less than 90% of capacity. The Suns, they are the best team in the league right now, can't sell out home games. You look at the teams that do sell out, their fan base is emotionally attached. Dallas, Golden State, Boston, Philadelphia, Utah. The NBA has spent the last 30 years making the players more important than the franchise. It has created an atmosphere of entitlement. You have players constantly changing teams. Michael Jordan would not have the legacy that he has if he changed teams every 3 years. Same with Kobe Bryant. When NBA players spend years with the same team, it creates an emotional attachment between the team and the fan. So when Kobe Bryant retires, the kid that grew up watching Kobe is still a fan of the Lakers. We don't have that anymore in the NBA. Superstar player becomes disgruntled, gets pissed off with the franchise. What does he do? He forces his way out of town. Can you do that at your job? NBA players are entitled, and it causes the casual NBA fan to not relate to them. NBA players just simply aren't relatable anymore. Tom Brady has hundreds of millions of dollars, but the average American, the average NFL fan, can relate to Tom Brady. Why? He's a 6th round draft pick. He busted his ass, continued to bust his ass throughout his career. He worked hard. He's humble. Tom Brady, you rarely hear him whine or complain. America respects Tom Brady. Do you respect LeBron James? Take the woke politics out of it. Forget about that for a second. Do you respect LeBron James? Someone who whines when he doesn't get his way, refuses to take accountability, blames everyone else when he loses, jumps from team to team, chasing a championship instead of earning it. I'll ask you again. Do you respect LeBron James? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.